Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 58th episode of Slime Time, the official Dragon Quest Dragon's Den podcast. This is Liamland. We've got a great lineup of guests for you today. Joining us are our Slime Time hosts, guests, and regulars, Pendy, Evan, or EAL. And joining us, hopefully, eventually, possibly by edit later on, we've got the delicious Dwaine Bullock. All right, so we do have some a couple of fun things to discuss. Pendy, do you want to talk about you went to a con recently and met a famous anime voice actor who's done some work in the Dragon Quest franchise?
Yeah, I actually met two recently, a few months back, and more recently last month. The first one I met was Zeno Robinson at a Katsucon in DC. It's not too far from where I live. He's known for roles like Cyborg in Young Justice, Go in Pokemon, and Hawks in My Hero Academia. So his DQ connection is that he's actually Harry in Dragon Quest Your Story. So I brought my Japanese collector's edition Blu-ray to have him sign it. I know it doesn't have the dub or even English subtitles, but I didn't care. I thought it'd be cool to have him sign it. So now, months later, I also went to MegaCon in Orlando. I usually wouldn't go that far for a con, but my dad lives near there, and there's a lot of people I wanted to meet that were at the con. One of the big draws for me was Steve Bloom. He's a tremendous voice actor that got famous for playing Spike in Cowboy Bebop. He's done Wolverine in many animated X-Men productions, Tom on Toonami, and many, many other roles. I think Dwaine was actually joking on the Your Story review podcast that we had that any anime production is contractually obligated to hire Steve Bloom for it. He's in so much stuff.
That's true. His name comes up quite often. He was even he was Gucciard. He was the slime, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I
in Your
brought some
Story.
Cowboy Bebop stuff for him to sign, but yeah, I also brought my Your Story box with me as well. As you said, he plays Gucciard the slime in the movie when Gucciard finally speaks at the end of the film. And then on the back of the box, it's all white and you have Gucciard in the center. So underneath that, I had him sign it and then write one of his lines from the movie where Gucciard says, "You must continue your adventure." It was amazing. So both actors were really friendly and they wanted to see what was inside the collector's edition box. So I showed them all the extras that I had in it, like the Gucciard shaped character and interview booklet, the Zenithian sword, mini metal postcards, and the steel book case for the Blu-ray. And it was so funny because Steve Bloom actually told me that when he did the line recordings, the name of the slime at that time was just Goo. They hadn't come up with the full name Gucciard. Apparently, they came up with that later. And what's funny is that I'm actually going to see him again when me and my wife go to Otakon in DC. He recently announced he's going to be appearing there as well. At MegaCon, there was an option for him to record a short piece of dialogue for you. So maybe I'll have him say that Your Storyline when I see him again. So that'll be fun to have.
Nice. And you pitched him for Slime Time, right?
Oh, I mentioned it. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm part of this, Slime Time Extended Universe and all this. We did this podcast. And so I mentioned that to him as well. He thought that was interesting.
That's funny. Yeah, that would be great if obviously I don't think he's gonna do it, but if he if he came on.
Oh yeah, I mean,
with an interview.
if I could get him for an interview, that'd be amazing. I have no, I don't think that's gonna happen, but might as well try. At the very least, I could get him to do like a line recording from the movie and have that at least. That'd be cool. It'd be our own Gilbert Gottfried Dragon Quest connection.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
have him record an intro.
Yeah, get him to say that, there's no plans for worldwide release. So the Dragon Quest 36th anniversary was recently. Does anybody have any reactions to the news?
So yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Some crickets there.
No, I was sorry, I didn't want to hop in on anybody. I thought it was interesting. They had the builders. It's on mobile now, which is pretty cool. Just another option for people to play that. Mm-hmm. They did the news. They did the news that there's going to be news about treasures. But they also did show that little teaser trailer, so that was cool to see a little bit more of that game because it had some stuff that wasn't in the first trailer. Mm-hmm. And then what was it? Oh, and then they had some stuff on the Dragon Quest X offline game that's coming out. When is that coming out? In the end of the summer, in Japan. But I just don't know if that's going to come out here or not.
Right.
Because they said, I mean, obviously we have that whole thing where we had the podcast where we did the 35th and we were like, oh, maybe, and then it wasn't. And they specifically said no, like we were joking about with Gilbert Gottfried, no plans for a worldwide release. Right, they didn't say anything with the offline version. They haven't said yes or no. So I don't know. My hopes aren't up, but there's still that window that maybe we could get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. Just we didn't even get any kind of character reveal or for 12. No news at all for 3, the HD 2D. Um, so yeah, I mean, it didn't. They didn't. Besides the treasures trailer, we didn't get a lot more than we did the year before.
No, and I noticed that they focused in on stuff for 2022. So all three of those titles, I think, are coming out in 2022, or seem like they're going to be coming out in 2022. So that's what they stuck with.
Hmm.
And I think, like for example, let's say like 2D HD, that is most likely, I would guess. Uh, and as you know, I think Genghis was one of the first people that brought it up. Was that it's probably going to be released when it's the 35th anniversary of 3, which will be next year in 2023.
No,
So
that's a
they're
good
probably
point.
saving, yeah, they're probably saving news for that later, I would guess. And the same thing with like the Die console game. They had to go back and rework it. I would bet that's not coming out until 2023 at the earliest. So that's probably why there's no news with that either. So they just did the 2022 stuff. That's why I
Yeah.
think they did it that way.
Okay. Yeah, it was pre-recorded and no whistling this time. They probably just edited out all the stuff that he said that he wasn't supposed to say. Um, so we have so I actually I don't know how long this has been available, but Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi, the mobile game that basically only myself and Hero still play on the Dragon's Den Discord. It's now available on PC via the And app, uh, desktop PC app. So I'm trying to figure out how long that's been available. I'm not entirely sure that's new, but it's new to me because it's actually the only way that there's this Baskin Robbins promotional where if you buy this Dragon Quest cake and they're in limited supply, you get this like commemorative promotional spoon as well as a download code for unique. It looks like a matcha ice cream slime with Baskin Robbins uh, like branding on it, similar to the vanilla ice slime that came with the last promotion. So that's a unique character that's really only available if you get the cake. And my wife's cousin got the cake for her birthday, and she doesn't really play
Oh,
Dragon Quest. She just got the cake because it looked delicious, I think. So, um, so she's giving me the spoon and the download code, but
awesome.
in order to actually implement it, I have to use this and app desktop PC. So right now I'm kind of struggling. I actually just found a guide recently that allows me to port my character over to the PC version. But then I was also talking to Hiro, and he mentioned that you have you can't have both playing simultaneously. So I have to port it over, get the promotional slime, and then port it back.
Mm.
So unfortunately, it's not like a thing where you can just play it on any device like a Dragon Quest X. You have to actually port your character back and forth, but it is possible to do it. So this is what I have to go through just for the the stupid promotion.
It's worth it.
Yes, it's totally worth it
True
eventually.
fan.
Yes, exactly. It's probably going to be like a rank 3. That's what the last one was like a rank 3 slime, so you can only level it up to like 50, and then that's it. It's maxed.
Oh,
But yeah, it's just a cool little thing, cool little unique thing to have. So I'm interested in just adding it to my game.
that's the one thing that I'm worried about is Keshi Keshi because they haven't said jack on that ever since they did the 35th anniversary thing where they came out and said like, oh, it's gonna be in the West at some point in time. But there's been no news on that whatsoever.
Yeah,
If
but
we don't see anything, if we don't see
I would
anything by E3, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I would say that that one is easily one that very much like Slime Mori Mori, like you don't need a translation for it. Especially if you join the Dragon's Den Discord and hop on the Keshi Keshi channel, Hiru is actually going through and translating all the events.
Mm,
And that's really all you need. Yeah, it's gotcha plot. You don't really need to know what's happening. It's a puzzle game. So
mhm,
all of the fun in the game is actually just playing the puzzles, not really paying attention to the plot.
mm.
Um, and then the only other things you would need is just like translations for the unlockables. So which you can do via like Google Translate. Um, if you to kind of figure out what you have to do. Sometimes it's just like, beat this stage with a team of all rank 3 or rank 4, or all, uh, they have a color elemental that goes with each of them, and that determines their strength against the other color intimate elementals. And so sometimes it'll be like a team of all purple monsters, or orange, or red, blue, green. And yeah, so once you have that kind of concept translating, and what you have to do for each of the events to unlock that stuff, it is super fun to play, and it's pretty addicting. So I would recommend it. In fact, Hiro and I are talking about doing another podcast that's basically like, it's easy to play. It's you don't need to wait for a translation. If we do get a translation, I probably wouldn't restart, just because I've gone far enough. But yeah, I definitely would recommend it if we do ever get it. But if not, it's completely playable in Japanese.
Nice.
So we were going to have Alexis, who you may remember from our Rubus novel translation episode that we actually also did with Hiro. But he was unable to make it. But I did want to start off with a statement that he wrote. So he said that what I can say about the Fantasia video is that I absolutely love the production value. The costumes and props were amazing. I love the way the monsters looked like in live action, to the point where the live action Dragon Lord became my profile picture. Also liked how it kind of mixed elements of the first trilogy into one story. The trio from 2 has to defeat the enemy from 1 while adventuring in the world of 3. You would have matched. You would have watched an actual live action TV show with such a nice production. Honestly, it's kind of like he mentions. It's kind of like a Xena or Hercules show, but with a DQ filter. And I think that I completely agree with that. So. So just to kind of do a fast recap. So the story is basically told with various children playing the characters, the heroes, and they meet up, and they basically go on an adventure, and um, through the various kind of DQ tropes, they go to weapons merchants, and they visit a king and gonna go on a quest, and along the way they encounter various monsters, all of which have very interesting and creepy production value. So we'll get to talking about that a little bit more. And it's just interesting because we talked about this on the ballet episode, and the production value was way better in this. This is from a video from 1988. The production value was way better in this than what you saw in kind of like the live action ballet. I would rate this Dragon Quest Fantasia video to be much higher than the ballet. I know we were kind of joking at how bad the production quality was in the ballet. In this, it's on a level of camp, but it's also incredibly detailed, and it brings, like I said, it brings like a level of creepiness to the production. So you want to talk about what we liked for this? Pendy, do you want to start?
Sure. I'd forgotten about this because I hadn't seen it in a while, but it's basically like a concert video where they threw in some live action work on top of it, because it opens up with Koichi Sugiyama conducting a concert, and that's the first time. It's first time, one of the only times I've seen him look as like a picture or a video of him as a young man, where he's actually doesn't have the gray hair and all that.
That's right. That's right.
But it's very interesting that I looked up that it was planned and produced by Toshio Okada, who is then the head of the anime studio Gainax, which you may or may not know that was responsible for titles like Evangelion, which may explain some of the creepiness with the monsters. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it says it on the Dragon Quest wiki that Hideki Anno, who came up with Evangelion, supposedly was one of the two people who played the Dragon Lord. But that might be a load of garbage. I have no idea. Um, the kids who played in it, the three kids who are basically kind of like they're modeled after the Dragon Quest 2 heroes. I
Mhm.
thought they did a very good job. They didn't overact at all, as far as I was concerned, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
I noticed that the Prince of Canik looking kid had a falcon sword. I thought of you
Yeah.
when I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, there was a couple of really good like tropes and stuff like that. They had the Princess of Moonbrook character was like using fire spells and everything, and
Hmm.
um
She even had the symbol on her hat that she has in the games too, or at least the artwork.
gotcha. Evan, what did you think?
I loved it. I really love campy stuff like this.
Hmm.
I mostly agree that it was pretty decent production value, but I think it's more like it was really good for the time. Obviously, not so much
Yes.
now.
Right.
Mm.
So it was really fun looking and seeing all the little the obvious things like, oh, that's a guy in a costume, that's a
Hmm.
giant model that's moving around. They
Yeah.
used animation here.
Yeah.
These are just miniatures with forced perspective to look bigger,
Hmm.
things like that, which makes it more fun personally for me. I like that type of stuff when you can see the seams a little bit more clearly.
Yeah.
The kid actors had a very earnest vibe to them,
Hmm.
like they were theater kids giving it their all.
Yeah.
I thought I did find it kind of fun watching when I was watching through it, seeing some of the actors clearly speaking. Like you could see the kids were speaking to each other. A lot of the extras were speaking. I
Hmm.
want to say though that the priest looked like he was just moving his mouth up and down. So that was
I I noticed that he was not into it whatsoever. He's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah."
well, he was
Going
only there for
anything.
like 3 seconds. He just stood
Yeah.
there and he moved his mouth up and down, and they moved on to the next set piece. I actually really liked the sets. Actually, I thought the towns looked really
Those are
nice.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, when they were walking around, all the guys dressed up as classic NPCs like the Tuffy.
Yep.
Love that. I really appreciated the music, obviously, but it sounds a lot better than if you're listening to the orchestral music in the game because it's a live performance.
Hmm.
So you can hear the individual instruments a little bit better. Whereas, even though it sounds really nice when you're listening to it in the game, um, it all kind of washes together. Uh,
The music was really good. And then just a quick aside is that at 8:07, I really liked the woman playing the violin had this facial expression like she forgot that the music started again. If you go look at that. Otherwise, yeah, the
I'll have to
music
check
was
that out.
fantastic.
yeah, I love the music. It had a bit of everything. Like pretty much any song you'd hear in a Dragon Quest
Hmm.
game from beginning to end was
That was
mixed in
the
there, all
that was
moods.
the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony
Yeah.
Orchestra.
Yep.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot to like here. I know you were a big fan, Pendy, of the some of the monsters. I personally thought they were hilarious,
It-
particularly the slime at the very beginning.
oh my God,
Mhm.
nightmare inducing. Especially when he
Yes.
throws one of them in a pot and it starts melting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get that out of my brain. That might haunt me the rest of my life.
That's why I didn't show it to my son, because between that and the skeletons where the eyes and then even the slimes, the eyes move.
Yeah.
They're like animatronic moving like left to right and staring like at the child actor when it lands on his shoulder.
And I thought it was
And
interesting. Okay.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna
That's
say I
just
thought it was
creepy.
interesting how they mix like live action like special effects, live action effects, and like animated effects. Because like with the slimes, like you can tell that they're like physical slimes that they made. But then like when more arrive and they fall out of the tree, you can tell they're little animated slimes that are coming down. Then they go
Yeah,
kind of
it's
go
a
back and
split
forth between
second.
that sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a split second of animation, and that was really cool too. Because I think those, I don't remember exactly if they were the Toriyama slimes, because it was so quick. It's such a like a quick flash of animation, but it was that general style.
Yeah, or where they went like there was one part in the middle of it where they went nuts on showing all sorts of different monsters, And like another time where they did both is where they did like a heat cloud or the El
Oh
Nino,
yeah. Yep.
whichever translation you're going with, where it had a puff of orange smoke, but then they did like an animated, like grinning evil smile on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they did that with like the shadow monster as well.
Hmm. And the other one that creeped me out, like a lot of the monsters were okay. The skeletons were weird, were goofy looking,
Hmm.
but the green dragons, like the pair of green dragons, where their eyes are
Yes.
rolling up in the back of their heads for
Yeah.
some reason, like it's
Yeah.
a dragon orgy. Or, I don't know what the heck was
Yeah.
going on there. That
Wait,
was weird.
yeah, that reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever seen the 1980s BBC production of the Narnia
Mm-mm.
series. They did four of the Narnia books, including Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and Silverchair. They actually got farther than the Disney movies did. So, but yeah, that in terms of like specifically, I think it was Dawn Treader where one of the characters turns into a dragon, like that. It was like that kind of level of animatronic creepiness from this particular dragon.
Yeah, and then Dragon Lord at the end looked okay for the most part. I mean, you could tell he was like in a rubber suit,
Yeah,
especially when he stomps down on some stairs and squishes them. You can see the rubber kind of bounce back. But I was 1988, so I give it a
right.
pass for some stuff. The
Yeah.
only other one that like really really creeped me out was the Archdemon, or it shows you only like the top half of the
Yes.
Archdemon. He's all like
Yes.
slimy and gooey and like it's like that
Remind
just
me of
freaked me out.
the Cronenberg's The Fly at the very end of the movie.
Yeah. Ugh.
How like slimy and ugh it looks.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the old classic Doctor Who, so I'm kind of used to that kind of production quality. So there's definitely like a certain campiness to this whole thing that I really enjoy,
I,
just based on that, like being able to see the I don't remember this, but like in some of the old Doctor Who's, you can like sort of see where the rubber mask ends, and you can see the actor's undershirt underneath, like or like see the zipper on the guy's suit or something like that kind
the
of level of like they're trying, but they're on a budget.
Yeah, the Chimera fight was interesting too. For some reason, when like the Princess of Moonbrook type character like hits him with a fireball spell and he falls over and is defeated, they just like focus the camera on him just twitching there as he dies. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit much, but sure, let's go with it. Just
Right.
like twitching, as he kind of.
Princess of Moonbrook was definitely the only one getting things done around there. She contributed, I think, the vast majority to the party, to be honest. She hooked them up with fire for their campsite.
Oh, that's right.
She torched a bunch of monsters. Whenever they were walking around the cave, she created fire for their journey. Everyone else was kind of standing around, waving their weapons around like idiots. She was the only one getting stuff done.
She even created a diversion for the hero so that he could climb up the stairs and do the final blow on the Dragon Lord.
I was playing a game with myself, trying to see when
I
she
think
would actually use her weapon. Because for most of the video, she just uses her hands on things. There's actually the part where she's lighting a torch, and instead of using her staff to light the torch, she puts it between her armpits and uses her hand to light the fire. It wasn't like towards the very end where she actually starts using the staff.
Oh, okay. Maybe using the staff used more MP.
yeah,
And then she just like literally like chucks the staff in the Dragon Lord's eye.
Yeah, exactly. Just throws it.
Oh, I
there
thought it
was
was. Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Pendy.
Oh, I was gonna say I thought it was fun how they showed the king in the beginning of it, and I figured maybe the king had some mafia roots as the hero has to kiss the ring. But that was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Or he's
It's like
just gross.
Return of the King style. Um, so we mentioned they were on the Dragon Quest 3 map because during the sailing scene, there's a moment where they actually travel to Japan or Zipangu, depending on which version you're playing,
Yeah.
and they show Himiko,
Yep.
who we know is really the Orochi.
Mhm.
And it's a brief cameo, but you never see the Orochi. You just see Himiko.
Well, she's got like the Orochi like teeth as she smiles
right.
to show
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
she's
yeah.
not really who she should be.
Right. So like, I love little just like Easter eggs like that, that they didn't just go in and just show you an Orochi monster, which also would have been cool, but uh but they allude to it, and people in the know what that's about.
Yeah, and they end up showing like all three maps from all three games at certain points of the video. In the beginning, they show the Dragon Quest One map, and it has runes on it, and they looked familiar to me. They look similar to the runes that you see on like Erdrick Shield and equipment and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
again, I ended up going on the Discord and I talked to Hero, who you were just talking about,
Yep.
and he confirmed that these are the same runes that they use in the games, and that if he was able to translate the runes on the map from the video to show that they're actually all the Japanese Dragon Quest One names for all the different towns and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think
Yeah, and
weren't the runes like Nordic or something? Like they weren't Japanese.
oh yeah,
If I-
the runes are, oh, what do you call them? Uh, I think they're the same kind of runes they use in The Hobbit, but they're like oh, Anglo-Saxon Futhark. That's what it's called. There's called
Okay.
Futhark runes and they're Anglo-Saxon. It's what Tolkien used for the dwarven runes in The Hobbit. So, but they spell out, if you translate them, they translate into the names that they use for the towns in Dragon Quest.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
they
I
do show the map for two, but it's like a blink if you miss it thing in the credits, like at the very end. They show it for like 2 seconds and they go on to something else.
gotcha. Yeah, I have the similar runes because I have the Mirror of Ra from that was produced.
Oh yeah.
It was like a really rare 1988 version of the Mirror of Ra that I got from Luchadork, and that's got those Nordic runes on it. I forget. I think we translated them at one point, but I kind of forget what they said. Something about drinking Ovaltine.
Yeah. Hero did a piece on Twitter recently about how the runes come into play in the various Dragon Quest games. So I think you're going to put those in the show notes. That'll be good for people to see how the runes come into play for Dragon Quest titles.
Cool. I noticed that we have the always delicious Dwaine on with us.
Hi.
Hey, how's it
Hi.
going?
So I'm dumb, and well, most of you already knew that. In my head, I thought, you had said 4 o'clock,
Mhm.
and so I was like, okay, 4 o'clock, and then it wasn't until I got here at 3:30, which I thought was plenty of time to get in early and all that. And I was like, oh wait a minute, that's 4 o'clock Eastern time, and you told me that, but for some reason it just slipped my mind, and I don't have notifications on Discord turned on, so I'm so
That's
sorry
okay.
that I'm
I
late.
always forget if you're in mountain or Central Time. 'Cause
Nope, Central, just straight down in the middle of the country. That's where I am.
Gotcha.
And
Okay, so
and if it makes you feel better, I have been outside in the 95-degree, 80% humidity Texas heat all day today. So I'm smelling wonderful, I'm sure, but I'm still looking good. So that's what counts.
all right. Speaking of looking good, what do you think about Dragon Quest Fantasia?
Well, this was one of those things. I'm not sure like how far ahead you've gotten, but way back in the early days of dim internets, when everything for Dragon Quest was new, this was something that I remember first logging on to Dustin's page back in the day in the Den 2, and Dustin had this image of a Dragon Quest Laserdisc, and no one knew exactly what it was. It was just a Dragon Quest Laserdisc. And I was like, oh, okay, is this a movie? Little direct-to-video thing, which I always thought was funny because here in the States, direct-to-video, just like when you hear something's direct-to-video, you always kind of wince and like, ooh, that's not going to be good. But Japan has always had a kind of really, really thriving direct-to-video industry. So, and when it was finally posted on YouTube, I was like, oh hey, finally, with just like high-quality rip, awesome. So after 20 plus years, I finally got to watch it, and that's pretty great. But
Yeah.
this was nice. I went into it thinking this is going to be something where if I was watching it as a kid, I probably would have loved it, and if I saw it again as an adult, I'd probably just cringe at it. But no, this was a nice, solid little production. The effects I thought were about equal to your average like TV Sentai or kaiju movie, I thought. But yeah, it was nice to see the entire orchestra and the little scenes that went along with it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the little we were talking about the Easter eggs that they kind of throw in there. One of the things I forgot to mention earlier, is when the hero first shows up in the main, the first hero shows up in his wayfarer's clothes. He's wielding a bindle over his shoulder. That's a cypress stick.
Yep. Yep. I was really surprised how accurate everything was. You guys were talking about the runes a little bit earlier. The attention to detail is really surprising for something like this. The cypress stick was taken straight from the concept art, the Wayfarer's clothes, everything. I was like, oh wow, they actually paid attention.
Yeah, the armor, like the Erdrick's armor and sword and all that, like they look fantastic. The power shield, all that stuff, all the armor and weapons look great in this production.
Yeah, even the costumes. Like I've actually never played the second game, but I was able to recognize the prince and princess just from the way they were dressed.
You've never played Dragon Quest 2?
I have never played Dragon Quest 1, 2, or 3.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Get out.
So you could imagine what I was. I didn't know that this was a mixture of all three. I thought it was going to be one or like its own story. So I was thinking, oh, this is Dragon Quest 1 because I saw the fight with the Dragon Lord at the end. Then his party joins. So, wait a minute, and then the locations, they look like what I know about Dragon Quest 3. So I was like, trying to figure out which one it was the whole way.
Yeah, they kind of mashed together elements of all three, and it was pretty cool. Because like when they're fighting the Dragon Lord, it's Zoma's theme at the end of it as they're fighting that boss.
I think it goes through. I'm not sure if the track order is the same, but I think it goes through one of those early and Pendy, you would probably know more than me. That first like 1, 2, and 3 symphonic suite set, is that the same track order?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay,
that one I don't have actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're talking about, yeah, it is the same orchestra, at least. It's the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony. So yeah, they came out with a whole box set of, I think it's 1 through 10 or 1 through 11. But it's the exact same orchestra, probably, a generation later, but that worked on this video in 1988.
Okay, that's awesome. You had mentioned earlier about the lady that was kind of like that had kind of forgot to play a little bit there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed the cymbal guy.
Yeah.
But he kept sticking out at me. It's just because that's just his job, is just to bang the cymbals. And I want a shonen manga of this cymbal guy, because I just want someone just like as a kid, just banging stuff together, and just he rises to become the top cymbal guy of the orchestra.
I can't remember if it's the same guy or not, but they also focused in on when they used the little triangle.
Yep.
They're like,
yep, same dude, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Triangle soloist.
Yeah.
It's just they make inspirational shonen manga for every other career in Japan, it seems. Why not an orchestra dude? If not, hop on it, Jump.
Yeah, and then of course inevitably there would be cymbal guy hentai.
Oh no. Yeah. Imagine imagine the things he'd be hitting with those. Oh no. Oh, now it's ruined. And I've caused all of this. I feel responsible.
Well, I mean, the way Japanese media is these days, probably the 3 kids in this are Japanese middle schoolers that got hit by a bus and appeared in this world. It's an isekai tale. Surprise.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, and this might be just something that's wrong with me, and that's could very well be the case. But when the prince meets his cousin, he seems a little kind of like shy. He's like like that. That's your cousin, dude. And I saw that at first. I'm thinking like, oh, I better not be hearing an air horn a little later on in this broadcast. It's not going to be good.
I thought it was cute how when they meet the Princess of Moonbrook type character, they're all like kind of like both of them are kind of like trying to get their hands all clean and stuff, because they're like, oh man, I got to shake hands with a girl. I got to make sure my hands aren't sweaty or whatever.
But yeah, she really did like take care of most of the heavy lifting in the movie.
Yeah, and she was older too in terms of the actor's age, so she did kind of stick out as more of like the party lead than the main character.
Mm-hmm. And what you were saying, older, well, and really the main lead, it seemed like for the longest time, the hardest thing he did was climbing down that cliff, and he just
Dude
could
could
just
barely
gone
take on
around.
slimes.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
to
Just
be
go
honest,
around.
he was armed with like I think a cypress stick at the time.
Hmm.
I don't
And
know if he had, I don't think he had been to the weapons merchant until like after that.
yeah, it was after that. And when the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna sell weapons to a child," that's a good idea. Money's money.
It's that South Park anime episode all over again.
That's
Where's
exactly
Butters?
what I was thinking about, actually.
Where's Butters? Ninja Stars. We need Ninja Star.
I think the Kanna character would probably be Butters.
Of course.
Just dies and spends just the rest of the the movie crawling around. But I actually like the skeletons. I thought they looked pretty cool.
It was just the eyes that got me. Like everything else about them was great, except for like the little animatronic eyes that were kind of rolling around. I was like, ah.
Right. Yeah, that definitely added that level of creepiness to it, and like how wet everything was.
Yeah, that they went to town on that. They're like, let's make everything as gooey as possible.
Yep. Spray it all down. I just like we bought all this industrial goo. Might as well make the most of it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, besides a few of them, for the most part, yeah, they still looked pretty good, especially for being 1988 and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this came out
I thought it
before
was pretty
4,
cool.
right?
Yes, because it
Yeah,
came out
yeah.
the same year that 3 came out.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah, I should know that. I'm a bad fan. I still haven't played 11, so I'm a really bad fan. So but I thought
Same.
it seems weird, but my favorite little cameo in the entire thing was Himiko,
Yeah.
because we don't have any official art of her really. So and her sprite is not really much different from a couple other
other
sprites in the
characters.
game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to your imagination to what she actually looks like. And I thought I liked the eyes and the sharp teeth. I really like that.
Yeah. No, that was a good element to it, and I like the 2 little guardians of Ramia that they showed as well. That was
Yeah, you
nice.
only really
That's
see them for
right.
like 2 seconds, but they all looked really good.
Yeah. And the fact that they're like twin guardians like that always reminded me of Mothra.
Yep, I think
I
it's
feel like
it's supposed to.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a Japanese myth, or historical trope maybe.
Yeah, and they all talk in rhyme.
Yeah. Now I want to watch Mothra.
But I was thinking as far as when Himiko transforms into the Orochi, I always wondered exactly how that worked, because it just kind of appears, and I was just wondering, just like, does she transform into the beast, or is it just the Orochi wearing like a wooden cutout of a person around its neck?
Or
like,
maybe
"Come
just
on,
the
hop in."
human form explodes and as the dragon grows out of her.
Yeah. That was probably one of my favorite little cameos. But like, other than that, it was just a nice little all ages production. I was like, I'm glad that they made this.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a fun watch if you haven't seen it before. It's a fun watch because you don't even need to translate it. Everything is done silently.
Yep.
Just with the music in the background. So.
And are there a lot of live recordings of the symphonic performances?
There's a handful. I know at the Dragon Quest Cafe that I go to locally here, there's a version of Dragon Quest V, the soundtrack,
Yep,
that
you
he's
can buy
always
that.
playing. Do you have that, Pendy?
No, I don't have that, but that's one that you can buy. They have that
Yeah.
on I forget, it was DVD or VHS. I can't remember when it came out, so I'm not sure what platform they put it on. But that's one of the ones that they actually released to the public for sale.
Yeah,
live
I think
performance.
I think it was about 10 years ago that it came out. So it's probably still available. It might be a little bit harder to track down, but I think what's probably the hardest to track down is the book that comes with it. There was like a collector's edition that came with a book about Koichi Sugiyama's life. And I remember like when he passed, I went to that cafe and he had the video playing and he showed me the book and everything. My wife translated some of it, and I mean, say what you will about him, but he had a pretty messed up upbringing, being a child during the events of World War II. And it's just just an interesting read. If I were ever to get a copy of that book, I'd love to kind of get a translation going. Not that it undoes like any of the political stuff, and reasons why people just loathe him.
Oh, sure.
But it gives an interesting perspective on like how someone can get radicalized.
Okay, that's good to know. I like that. I think I know which book you're you're talking about too. Play Asia, I think, sold it for a little while.
It's not the large like cream colored one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I have. That's a different
Yeah,
one.
that's the one that I
Oh,
have
okay.
too. It's a smaller, thicker book
Oh,
that came with this DVD. I actually got a picture of it that maybe if I remember to do so, I'll give it to you, Woodus, for the YouTube version. But in terms of we talked a lot about what we liked. What didn't you like about this?
um, honestly, it's real easy to be cynical about this and just pick it apart. But I mean, I don't know. There was really nothing that just kind of stood out and said like I dislike this. I wish that they had maybe balanced the live actions and symphony parts a little bit better, because there's definitely like about a third, well, like not about 2/3 of the way in where they focused on the symphony a lot, because it's like, uh-oh, we've run out of footage. So
I noticed
so
that too. It was like
or
they were
Suji had to be like in it for just a certain amount of time per his contract, who knows? But it's just like, okay, what happened to the movie that they were showing?
yeah, they start at a certain point. Actually, even kind of just throughout, they cut back and forth a lot to the orchestra,
Mhm.
and then
I
just
assume that
hung
was
on
for
the
scene
hung on the orchestra
transitions,
for a
though.
while. Yeah, but like Dwayne said, it might have indicated that they didn't have as much footage
Mhm.
as they could have.
Yeah, because
But
it went from like them starting out to having the full armor and weapons. I was like, wait a minute, there's a little bit that they needed there.
yeah,
That was
and
that
I
montage
found
of monsters.
I found
That
myself though
training
like being
montage.
really interested in the live action stuff, and then all of a sudden they cut to the orchestra and be like, I could have watched more of that.
It's really it's and again the symphony parts weren't bad at all. Being an artist, I like to watch musicians play. It's one thing to actually listen to it, but it's also fun to watch and see how they actually play the instrument and all that. And
Yeah.
that's always fun for me, and that's a weird nerdy artist thing. But yeah, I really don't have a lot of negative things to say other than it would have been nice to see more like monsters. And yeah, the archdemon was a little interesting.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
gooey.
the wyverns as well.
Mhm. I really like that scene. It's they really seem to put, I don't know,
Oh, it was
they
a good
seem
action
to
scene.
put, yeah, a lot
Yeah.
into it.
It's just they focused on him dying like really weirdly long at the end of it, but before that, to leading up to
Yeah.
that, like it was a cool little action scene of him flying around and them trying to get it. I like it was nicely done.
Yeah, like you have to make sure it's dead. Double tap.
just look at
The
it.
thing is just
there
like
for a few seconds.
every single horror movie I've seen after that, it's just like after Zombieland, I'm like double tap. Oh, see? And my friends in the theater are like, stop it. But anyway, but yeah, it's they built the entire puppet, so I mean, why not show it off as much as you can? And the Dragon Lord suit too. It did seem kind of weird. I really like the model shot of the Dragon Lord's castle. That was really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
That was different.
Yeah, it was. It was with a little dragon face on the top of it. It was a cool looking set, and they blew it up.
Yeah, they blew it up. Well, it just like he was already on the way to really like mess it up. And it's just like, what's your goal? You're tearing up your own house, man.
Oh yeah, that was funny because when he first transformed, he like hits the ceiling and he's like, "Are you trying to hurt yourself? What's going on
Yeah.
here?"
It's just like, we don't have to do anything. Let's just kind of stand back and and just watch him kill himself, and we can go home as heroes. Yes. Won by a technicality.
Evan, how about you? What didn't you like about the production?
I'm kind of with Dwayne on this one. There wasn't really much I disliked about it. Like I said, I like campy stuff, and this, like the stuff that people might consider bad, I think makes it good. So I also didn't really have any particular hatred for anything. I loved all the gooey, disgusting monsters, especially the slime that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, Evan. I love that kind of old campy stuff. Have you ever seen the Narnia BBC Narnia movies?
No, but I know of them, yeah.
Oh,
I have.
they're definitely worth it. There's, I think it's in Silverchair. Puddleglum is actually played by Tom Baker from Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor. And there's this amazing scene where a giant has to pick up Puddleglum, and it's clearly like a doll. It's just like a ragdoll version of him. It's just it's that kind of level of quality and special effects or practical effects.
There is a certain charm with rubber monsters because it's that nice kind of homemade feel. Just like there is there is a place for your hyper realistic CG and all that, but sometimes it's just fun just to have a rubber suit to get the job done, and it's just
Yeah.
nice. It's a weird thing to say, but it's just nice.
Yeah.
Very
'cause
earnest, very wholesome.
Yeah.
It gives you the feeling like, hey, we could do this.
Mhm.
Like we could at least make something of this kind of
Yeah.
somewhat of this level quality.
Like in contrast to the Obi-Wan series where it's supposed to be this like dirty planet, and they have their nice shiny floor which looks like it was filmed at a convention center. But one thing I noticed when they were in the Dragon Lord's castle, just how littered with bones it was.
Oh yeah.
Adult
many people
adult
had
bones
gone there
too,
to
which
die.
is just like kids were like,
Yeah. This is another reason why I didn't show it to my son.
just no. Those were all the skeletons that they had to defeat to get there, right?
Show them a different Fantasia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all the adult heroes who died on their way to try and kill the Dragon Lord. But these children, I'm sure they'll do well.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Just throw a stick in its eye and it'll be just fine.
Anything else?
I was upset that it was called Dragon Quest Fantasia and it did not have Fantasia Barrino from season 3 of American Idol. I thought her career got resurrected there for a second, but
Oh, I thought you were going to say dancing Mickey Mouse and with brooms.
and the Dragon Lord steps on him.
Why is it called Fantasia?
I don't know. What does the word Fantasia mean?
Well, so I googled
this
it,
is
and it
before-
has nothing to do with what you actually see. It's like a music term for like improvisational parts or something like that. I was like, this has not. I assumed it was because it was similar to the Disney Fantasia, where there was a visual component with the live orchestra. But
which is probably what it is before Disney stomps down with the copyright.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a musical competition based on several familiar tunes. Yep. There you go. And they were using tunes from different games, and they supplemented it with live action footage that they used, which I guess that's what makes it a Fantasia.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, when they were just kind of like walking around the town, just getting random stuff. Were they looking specifically for that key, or were they just talking because there was like one point I was like, oh, I hope that's not the massage dude in Asylum. It's like, please don't put that in here. I thought it was funny that they unlocked the jail cell and just the dude stayed in there and just like, oh yeah, let me show you this on the map. No, I don't think that would happen.
Oh yeah, it was very Dragon Quest, like the way that they went to all the NPCs and in the towns and were looking for clues and stuff like that. And I thought that was cool how they even talked to a prisoner in a jail cell like you would in one of the games. So that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
it was fun. Just like, oh, he's just staying right there. Okay.
Yeah. That's very Dragon Quest though, because I think it's pretty rare. There might have been like one or two occasions in the classic series where a guy does kind of escape when you open the jail cell, but for the most part they're just standard NPCs walking in place and they're not moving. So,
and whenever you want to talk to them, it's just like they'll walk all over the entire cell except walking up right to the door.
Right.
And just like I'm waiting
Yeah,
here for
that's
5
true.
minutes. I just want to get the information. Just leave.
If you wait long enough, that you probably would randomly walk out the door, but not, just because of the randomization of the game code, not because they were like the
Trying
character
to.
was trying to escape.
It's just like sometimes I wonder if the programmers do that on purpose, just to antagonize players, just to make them wait.
Funny though, I still think it's hilarious that the characters just kind of stand and walk in place. If you're not moving, they're just kind of stomping in place. I think that would be funny. I haven't seen the what's that Dragon Quest V live action TV show?
Oh
the
yeah.
the parody.
Yeah,
Whatever it's called.
I would love to see like an episode of that where they do something like that. I haven't seen all of that. I've seen a couple of clips where they go through somebody's house and they're breaking pots and stuff, and the person's just there in the foreground, like not noticing that the heroes are in the background, going through their stuff, going through their drawers and like taking stuff and breaking pots and things.
Yeah, and that was a great
So,
joke in Dragon Quest 11 too, where you go into one of the houses and one of the guys actually says, "What are you doing?" When you actually start to do that, they actually get upset.
Yeah. That's the realistic, like that's what I'd like to see for future reference, because these are supposed to be heroes. They wouldn't do that, but they give
Well,
you the free reign to
in Ultima 4, you're actually punished for going in and taking treasure chests and not giving shopkeepers the correct amount of money and such. If you ever played Ultima 4, you have to become the avatar, and you have to be very very saintly and virtuous and all that. So you can't just like walk in and take every treasure chest you see, or just count out, or just buy a bunch of weapons and armor and give the merchant like 1 gold piece, but you'll never beat the game that way.
Oh, really? That's they penalize you that way. You find out later that you can't win.
Mhm.
Isn't that one of the games where you can try and kill the king, but usually it's not advised because they'll
Yes.
kill you pretty quick? Yeah.
Yes,
I
and
remember
I've
experimenting with that.
and I've met him, and please don't try and kill him. He's very nice. But this actually, when I saw Dragon Quest Fantasia for the first time, it reminded me, and this is going to be a really deep dive. If anyone remembered this, or if it's still up, can give me the link. So back in like 2005, 2006, there was a 3-hour video on YouTube. And back then, a 3-hour video on YouTube was completely unheard of. And it went through the entirety of Dragon Quest 3, but it used stock photos. So what it would do, it would take like a stock photo of a guy, and then put it on this just landscape, and it would be going through Alayahan, and it would play the entire track. So this is why this was a 3-hour video. When it got to Alfgard, it was like the same background, but they had toned down the brightness on it, so it looked dark, and a stock photo of a bear, and like I said, whenever somebody would get into like a quote unquote fight, it would play the entire track. So if anyone out there can find this masterpiece of modern art, I'm going to call it that, it may have gotten purged in the YouTube inactive account deletion of a few years back. So, but if it's still out there, let me know, because I can't find it again, and it was ridiculous.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything to say about Dragon Quest Fantasia?
I did find out that if you want to get a copy of your own, I didn't really look at the Japanese marketplace, but I saw on eBay you could get a copy of the VHS for about $40, and there was some other website you could find the Laserdisc on for about $100. But I don't know how much they go for in like the Japanese like Yahoo auctions and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of getting it as a collector, but that's good to know. If you actually do want to see it without paying money, it's actually available on YouTube. You can search Dragon Quest Fantasia video, and it should come up. I believe it's MartyMcFlies V2 who posted it to YouTube. It's the full Laserdisc rip.
Full HD Laserdisc rip, which is no easy task.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Slime Time. So we don't use Patreon. We won't half-inch your hard-earned money when we can offer you quality content about the game series we know and love for free. If you do have any money that's completely burning a hole in your wallet, pouch, closet, chest, drawers, bottomless bag, or searchable wall sack, and you would like to donate anything to the website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 20 years, stop by the Dragon's Den at www.woodus.com/den and click on support this site. Woodus has owned and maintained the Dragon's Den fan site for decades, and he personally edits every YouTube version of our podcast. He fully appreciates any donations to help keep the servers running. Dwayne, you're up.
Oh, I am? Oh. Yeah, so if you like the little Slime Time logo, I did that. And if you want to see more of that, you can follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/DwayneArt. Or if you'd like to buy a print or a book, you can go to my online store, DwayneBullockArt.BigCartel.com. Oh yeah, and it's spelled Dwaine. I'm cursed with a name nobody can spell. I apologize. Blame my parents.
The Dragon's Den website also features an Amazon affiliate link. If you click the link and then make a purchase, a small fraction of the sale will go to support the den, and it won't cost you anything. This episode is sponsored by Lenger's Orange Juice, which is exactly what I would say if that were true. To advertise with us, reach out at slimetimepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any comments or questions for the Dragon Quest Slime Time podcast, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time. Consider joining in tons of DQ discussions on the Dragon's Den forums, one of our few remaining forums still around. Find it on Dragon's Den main page, www.woodus.com/forums. You can also find us and other rabid DQ fans posting on the Dragon's Den Discord server. We'd like to thank everyone who made this possible, like Woodus, and for his support of the series and this podcast and keeping the Dragon's Den lights on for decades. I would love to thank Dwaine and Pendy and Evan for joining us on the podcast today. Thank you guys. And thanks to Amanda Lepre and the Descendants of Verdict for allowing us to use their music for our podcast. Descendants of Verdict is a video game tribute band from Austin, Texas. Check them out in their most recent album, Advent, at www.descendantsofverdict.com or on Twitter at @DaVerdrick, and check out Amanda Lepre streaming on Twitch. Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast. It really does help us to kind of grow the podcast and bring you more quality content in the future. If you are looking for more Dragon Quest Slime Time, check out our earlier episodes on Dragon's Den, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Audible, YouTube, and more. And check out our brothers and sisters in arms over at the Slime Time Side Quest podcast. Their latest available episodes are available now, as well as our new Tactfully Die podcast, talking about all things Dragon Quest Tact and Dino Daiboken, featuring our Slime Time regular and host and guest, Mr. Sean Pendergast.
Yay!
Penny,
and my co-host Paul Eastwood, also known as East X Twitch.
Do you have anything coming up on the Tactfully Die podcast you wanted to talk about?
Well, we just recorded an episode that should be up there soon, where we go over 2 more episodes of Die, and we talk about Pizarro Bane Sword coming to Tact.
Everybody's favorite Bane Sword.
Yeah, that's really what they called it?
No, they call them that in Stars, but they took off the Bane Sword for Tact. But you can rename your characters, and I renamed them just for Liam.
Yeah, I think that
because he loves that name so much.
Mishi had mentioned that I think that was part of the localization team decided to give him a last name, I guess, so that they could name his equipment.
I want to know who stole my DQ Shrine font for Dragon Quest of the Stars. Like, I see you. I know what you did. I mean, I don't blame you because that's a fantastic font, but still, I will find you.
But yeah, we'll also
give you a kiss.
This summer we'll also have some episodes where we're going to do some roundtables discussing the Dragon Quest Die manga issues as well. So look forward to that.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this episode of Slime Time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.
Bum, 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 bum.